Hello and welcome back to our final episode of our three-part mini-series on Health Watch to share information about cardiovascular disease, its impact and treatment, and the upcoming Cardiovascular Symposium scheduled for Saturday, February 16th. I'm your host, Marketing and Communications Manager, Natasha Letsom. Joining us on the program is Dr. Roger Miller, here to speak about the importance of the symposium and its benefit to the people of the territory. Welcome, Dr. Miller.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Start us off by telling us a bit about yourself as a doctor and the work you do here at the BVI-HSC.
Okay, so I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon, which really means that it's two specialty in one. So I'm a cardiac surgeon and I'm also a thoracic surgeon. A cardiac surgeon is one who operates on the heart. So, diseases that involve the valves of the heart or the arteries that supply the heart. And those are operations that we can do. The thoracic surgeon now will operate on the lungs, the esophagus, that's the swallow pipe, and the windpipe or trachea, chest deformities, anything that has to do with the thorax. That's from the neck all the way down to the abdomen. So there are a myriad of things that we can do. As it pertains to BVI-HSC, currently we cannot do open heart surgeries, and that, in my opinion, is a limit to what we can do here. So there are tons of stuff that we can do on the lungs, on the trachea, and in addition to that, we've also started a pacemaker program that we can actually implant pacemakers and other cardiac devices. We actually have a pacemaker clinic that is up and running currently, and also a cardiothoracic surgery clinic.
Nice. So what type of clientele you get in? Like, is there a lot of people that's actually coming through these clinics?
There are a fair amount. There are actually quite a number of patients who previously used to go to Puerto Rico to have follow-up in terms of their device, because it's a machine that runs on a battery. So this battery will be depleted over time. So what we do from time to time is just to check to make sure that it's working properly. And when it comes to that time that it needs to be replaced, then we can also offer that service here at BVI-HSC.
So what are some of the objectives of the symposium and how will it impact cardiovascular management moving forward?
That's a very good question. So the objectives of the symposium, they're actually twofold. One is to bring awareness to the general public as to how cardiovascular disease will affect their health. What are some of the mitigating factors that they can put in order to improve their health, in order to prevent them from getting these diseases, and if they do have them, how they can manage them more effectively. So that's the first part. The second part is actually to update the medical community, the doctors, the nurses, all who care for all the patients in the BVI and the Caribbean in general, how we can better treat these patients. So that's the second objective of the conference.
And how will this now impact the management of cardiovascular diseases moving forward?
Good. It is my hope that after the patients and the healthcare professional, they are updated as to what they should do, what are the protocols, what are the world-leading strategies that are out there, then we can all take home these points and implement them in our day-to-day practice.
So what can participants expect?
They can expect a lot. So the symposium itself is designed as a series of lectures, and in addition to that, it will also have what I call a cardiovascular skill stations. And that part I'm quite excited about. So the lectures, we have 9 people that are going to be giving lectures, about 20 to 25 minutes long, so they're not too long. And these will range from people who are local specialists to people. We're taking in about 4 people from the Caribbean who will actually speak on their specialty. So we have Dr. Alair Khan Fraser, who's actually one of our local family physicians. She'll be speaking to us about the impact of cardiovascular disease and how primary healthcare can actually mitigate this. In addition to that, we have Dr. Joel Stevens and Dr. Belinda Morrison, and these are two doctors who are similar. Dr. Joel Stevens is a vascular and general surgeon, and he'll be speaking to us on the surgical management of cardiovascular disease in renal failure patients. And Dr. Morrison will be speaking to us on cardiovascular disease and male sexual dysfunction, which I think is a very hot topic.
Okay.
So those are some of the speakers that we're going to have. And of note, our keynote speaker is Professor Howard Spencer, who is a cardiothoracic surgeon from Jamaica. He's also the registrar of the Medical Council in Jamaica. And I would say that he's the father of cardiothoracic surgery in the Caribbean. For a very long time, he was the only cardiothoracic surgeon in the entire Caribbean.
Wow.
So he was happy to come, and he's going to be our keynote speaker, and he's going to be speaking to us on a more ethical topic, which is when to call it quits, the ethical dilemma in the management of cardiovascular disease. So he's going to be our keynote speaker. So other speakers that we're going to have include our very own gastroenterologist and cardiologist, Dr. Hesketh Vanterpool, and also Dr. Bovell Chichester, who will also speak to us. As I mentioned before, the cardiovascular skills station, I'm quite excited about this. The reason for this is because it will give the participants a chance to have hands-on experience as to the diagnosis and the management of some of these cardiovascular diseases. In fact, we're going to have mannequins and demonstrations on cardiac arrhythmias and how you can manage them and defibrillation. So to me, that's quite exciting. Mm-hmm. And what is the most important part for me is that we're going to actually have cadaveric hearts. It simply means that you're going to have real life pig hearts there at the conference so that we can do on-spot dissections, show and demonstrate where the coronary vessels run, the valves. So to me, that's quite exciting.
Nice. So pig hearts are similar to human hearts?
They're extremely similar. Mm-hmm. In fact, as a part of my training, that is, before we got a chance to actually operate on a human heart, we'd actually practice on pig hearts before we'd move on to the real deal.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now, this symposium sounds a bit techy. Is it just for clinicians, or can the general public also participate?
The conference is mainly geared towards the medical professionals, and but it's quite open. If someone sees a topic that they're quite interested in, male sexual dysfunction, for example, and then it's open really to everyone. I forgot to mention there are actually 3 other speakers, including myself, who will speak on coronary artery bypass grafting, an interventional cardiologist, Dr. Carpen, who will speak on the role of percutaneous coronary intervention, that's stenting and those things that you can do if you have coronary artery disease, and also Dr. Joseph Bligin, who is the head of the Division of Cardiothoracic Surgery at the University of the West Indies in Jamaica. He'll be speaking to us on advances in cardiac care or cardiac surgery that we currently have. So we're going to be expecting a very high-tech type presentation, mm-hmm. and very intense, and we're expecting to get about 7 continuing medical education hours. So this is quite exciting, I think, for everyone. Hardly are you going to come to a conference that you can get so many hours, and it's absolutely free.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Miller, thank you for sharing that information with us. And as we spoke about the information and, talking about the pig hearts and everything, one question came to mind. When someone presents in the emergency room, maybe having suffered from a major heart attack, as a cardiothoracic surgeon, what do you do?
Okay, so normally it would go to the cardiologist, and it depends on the type of heart attack. There are things that you actually can do to prevent the heart from dying, and that is where the percutaneous coronary intervention, we call it PCI for short. What happens in most of those conditions is that you have a small clot that will actually block these vessels, and if you can actually do something to remove those clots in a very short period of time, then the patient will stand a very good chance of surviving that heart attack.
And if they make it to you?
I'm hoping that they don't, right? Because in my opinion, the objective of this conference is to what I call primary prevention. I love to operate, but I would rather not see patients come to me. If they're presenting and they need a coronary artery bypass grafted, it means that the disease is already advanced to the point where other more conservative measures have failed. It means that the medications have failed. It means that this patient is not a candidate for percutaneous coronary intervention, which is far less invasive. But some patients are unfortunately that advanced that they will need my assistance in terms of offering them a triple bypass or quadruple bypass, whatever is required for them to have a better life.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that information with us. And as we move along, I know that your symposium is just not about the lectures. You have other activities associated with it.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the run walk.
Okay. The run walk is Walk for Life, and that's a theme. And we thought that was very important because it's really a representation of a lifestyle modification that we should have in terms of cardiovascular disease prevention. So it's really symbolic, because one of the major risk factors is that we don't get enough exercise, and it probably applies to a lot of us, and that's just the truth. So the run walk is really symbolic, and we're going to start at the Queen Elizabeth II Park. We're going to go to the roundabout by Purcell, and then we're going to come back to QE2 Park and end there. Registration is 5:30, and then the run walk is going to start at 6. So we're expecting most people to take between an hour and a half. Then we come back, have a light breakfast, and then after that we'll go into the health fair.
Speak a bit about the health fair.
Okay, so the health fair, once again, is going to be by the QE2 Park, and it's really a collaboration between the Rotary Club, or the Rotary Clubs, I should say, and NHI. And the objective of this is that we're going to have a series of, this venture is more geared towards the general public. It's more like an educational and health screen activity. So the objective of this is to actually get the general public to come. After you finish the run walk, you get a little breakfast, and then we'll move straight into the health fair. So we'll get your blood pressure checked, your blood glucose, your cholesterol, and we'll also do what we call body mass index screening. So we can tell you whether you need to put on a little bit more weight or to take off, or you're just fine. In fact, if we need to refer, because invariably some patients would, if we find that the blood sugar is like really, really high and they need to be referred immediately to the emergency room, then those facilities are in place as well. In addition to that, we're going to have a group of other what I call support organization, including the Nurses Association, Rotary Club, of course, and NHI. All of those people will be having their booth to give information, to answer questions. The BVI Diabetes Association, the dietary unit from the hospital will also be there to speak about, what are some of the things that we can do, the best diet that we can have in order to prevent cardiovascular disease. And also the physiotherapy department. Once again, exercise and prevention of a sedentary lifestyle is quite important moving forward. So, and also I should mention that primary health care will also be there. Very, very important that we prevent these diseases before they happen. So those are just a few of the groups that, have confirmed their participation for the health fair.
Well, it definitely sounds exciting. And I think that as a territory, we are in this cycle of fitness, and I think we're finally getting to understand the importance of physical activity. And by, sharing this day with us and, affording us opportunities to actually get moving, you should get a great turnout. And
I really hope so. I really hope so.
Okay, so pulling it all together for us, why should persons attend the Cardiovascular Symposium, the health walk, the health fair, and how can they participate?
Okay, so first of all, everything is free. There is no fee, there is no extensive registration or sign up. Present on the day, you come for the run walk at 5:30 and you do your registration, and that's about it. And if you're going to come for the symposium itself, that's where we do the lectures. You come to the hospital, the lobby, at 11 o'clock. That's for the registration, and then we'll start the lectures at about 11:30. Once again, it's absolutely free. There's no real pre-registration. You just come and you just sign up for it, and you'll get at least 7 CME hours for that. And people require CME hours. The symposium, as I said before, is mainly geared towards the medical fraternity. But once again, if the general public is interested in any particular topic, and just, in general, they can just come, and they're also welcome to be a part of the symposium. It's very important that people take exercise, their health, what they eat, very important, because, cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer. So, it's even worse than cancer, and, it just makes everything worse. So it's quite important that people take care of themselves and try to put things in place in order to prevent these diseases from taking their lives.
Definitely. Well, I want to thank you again, Dr. Miller, for coming on the program and sharing this wonderful information with us, and I do hope you have a successful event.
Thank you very much.
So thank you once again for tuning into the program today, where Dr. Miller came and shared some information with us about the upcoming Cardiovascular Symposium slated for Saturday, February 16th in the lobby of the New People's Hospital beginning at 11 a.m. We hope the community will support the symposium as well as the run walk and health fair, also scheduled for February 16th beginning at 5:30 a.m. at the Queen Elizabeth II Park. I hope that our listening and viewing audience has somehow benefited from the information shared as we seek to continue to improve healthcare in the territory. It was a pleasure bringing you this information because I know knowledge is power and information saves lives. I want to thank our guests again, Drs. Chriselle Chichester and Dr. Roger Miller, for coming on the program today and sharing this life-saving, life-changing information with us. Reporting for the BVI Health Services Authority, I am Marketing and Communications Manager Natasha Letson. Thank you for tuning in.